Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Small Press Expo 2012. We are here with...
I'm Joe, by the way.
I'm Rusty. And this is...
I'm Michael Bracco.
Welcome, Michael.
Well, thank you.
Yes. So, Michael has not been to SPX in the last few years. He is very excited to be back. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what your new book is and what you're doing?
Yeah, sure. I just started a new project I've been working on. Well, I've been working on a book called Novo for the past 7 years, and I finished it last year. So I finished like a 6-book, about 500 pages worth of content. And it's been my baby for so long, and I just finished work on the pilot episode of my newest book, which is called The Creators. And The Creators is about a small step in human evolution where a small group of teenagers across the globe suddenly develop the ability to bring their imaginations to life through their drawings. But it's fueled by adolescent emotion, so it's really catastrophic when it happens. So let's say a kid with this power is bullied in school. One of his drawings might come to life to protect him, but go out of control and throttle the entire school, killing everybody just to protect him.
Right.
So really the book is about this group of kids learning to deal with the consequences of their imaginations, which of course is inherently unfair, and a government agency called the BCE, the Bureau of Creative Enforcement, that is put in place to take control of them.
Very cool.
Thanks.
Now, you've been doing a lot of comics. They all seem to kind of skew, or at least partially go into all ages. You know, they're good for readers of any age.
I try. I mean, I've done an all ages book, which is very much kind of just like a space romp with a kid and his parents. And but most of my books, I teach middle school, and I write for adults or what I would want to read. But I always have that in mind. If one of my kids picked it up, no matter what the content is, if their parents picked it up, as long as they read it, they would see that nothing that happens in it is something that's objectionable.
It's not necessarily for children, but it's also not going to have extreme.
No,
anything extreme that would be bad for.
No, I mean,
kids.
I do the Creators. One of the things with it is that it does deal with some really heavy topics. Physical and sexual abuse. It deals with bullying. It deals with a lot of things that are, things that kids everywhere do have to deal with, and it doesn't pull any punches. So it can be really brutal at times, but at the same time, I try at least to do it in a very responsible way, where we're taking from this, we're learning from this, and we're doing it in this interesting and different way, so that it's exciting to dig into these kind of difficult topics.
Now, you don't just do comics, though.
No, I do a lot of commission illustration for children's books, and I also, but at the shows, though, I think that one of the main things I do is I design my own line of clothing called Spaghetti Kiss.
Now, those have really awesome graphics on them.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm wearing one right now.
Yeah,
It is,
as seen here.
it's a mermaid punching an octopus in the face, and yeah.
That's based on a true story.
It is.
Inspired by actual events.
Yeah, that's how I met my wife.
Would you be the octopus?
Oh no, I was just in the corner watching.
Oh,
and I was
gotcha.
like, Bravo!
Wow.
Very nice.
Congratulations.
It was a very
Ronald
Splash
that octopus.
moment.
Yeah.
You missed that scene in Splash?
I did.
That's the best scene.
Yeah.
One day on a road trip, Rusty and I came up with an idea for a Splash sequel, which involved the ghost of John Candy. He'd be CG in the movie, completely CG.
A la Anakin Skywalker?
Yeah, exactly. And he'd go underwater and try to find Tom Hanks. But Tom Hanks would be turned evil now, like a giant mermaid, and so
Yes.
it would have been a good fight.
It would have been a great fight.
Yeah.
Lots of blubber.
CG John Candy in the submarine is probably one of my favorite things that doesn't exist.
Yeah,
that we've ever
he was
come
just submerging in his, and it would look off, kind of like what was the Christmas movie with Tom Hanks?
Polar Express.
Polar
yes.
Express, where everything is just enough to make you creep.
Okay,
creeped out.
fair
Yeah,
enough.
that's what John Candy would do.
Those aren't
Uncanny
real
Valley.
children. They'll eat your soul.
Look at their eyes; they've already been taken. And so that's what Splash 2 would have been like.
I'm there.
Yeah?
Can I do the character design?
Absolutely, yeah. Because it's going to get really dark really fast. And then there'll still be some funny things, but they won't make you feel better. They'll make you feel worse.
No. Excellent.
Why are they taking this so lightly? John Candy just ripped that person's face off. And so
Why is there a laugh track at that? I don't understand.
this is a movie. This doesn't make any sense.
Awesome. I am there.
Yeah, excellent.
Opening
I can't
night.
wait. So we have to polish the screenplay, if you will, and then we're done. I think we're just done.
I think we're
Green
done.
light it from Disney.
We may just adapt it as a graphic novel for next year. We'll see. But
Really, it's going to be called a really graphic novel.
yeah, an extremely graphic novel.
So when was your first time coming to SPX? Do you know?
I came to SPX for the first time as an attendee, I think in 2003, and I was working on like the first comic project that I ever done, and I spent 2 years bringing it here and getting it ripped to shreds, and I kind of was at the point where I was going to just give up, and I didn't come back to SPX for a year or two, and I got my first book, Birth, picked up, and came here to show it off in 2007. I came for 3 years in a row, and then took a couple years off, and came back this year for the first time. Actually, I was here last time because we do Super Art Fight here.
Right.
So yeah, I have kind of an interesting relationship with this show because it's kind of the show that broke me and then made me as a comic artist. It was a place where I got my stuff torn apart, and it gave me the opportunity to look at where my work was really flawed and work on that and improve myself. So
I think the show works really well in that regard because it's easy to be inspired by coming to this show.
Oh my God, yeah.
Because you not only have masters of craft doing the best work that they all do, but you also have people who do not do the best work they do, but they're still putting their material out there, you know, and they're refining it just by doing that.
Right.
And that's really inspiring. You know, these people whose comics may not be ready for a mainstream audience, but you know, their unbridled enthusiasm and love of comics printed out.
Yeah, you see so many first steps basically come through here.
I just think that I love how much passion is in the room, and that happens at every comic show. But when you have a comic show that has a big artist alley and the big names and the retailers, you know, even in the artist alley itself, a lot of people are just hobbyists, and there's not too many hobbyists in that room. It's you know, whatever skill level it is, it's people who like, I just want to make comics, I just want to put stuff out, I want people to look at my work, judge the hell out of it, and hopefully they'll like it, and I'll figure out how to get better. And that's my favorite aspect of this
Absolutely.
show.
You know, they look at each other as a way to get better, all the while, but continuing to do things.
Right.
And that's very important. Yeah. Because it's easy to be a perfectionist and never make anything.
Oh, yeah, which I think is most people. I think that they're, for, you know, the 250 vendors around, there's 2,500 vendors in this, you know, in a 200-mile radius who don't make stuff, who have all these ideas and never like take that time to actually put something out and spend the time and devote themselves to it.
Yeah, one of the things that we had heard a lot, and we've talked about this a lot of times before, is that people will come and they'll ask, you know, attendees or people that are exhibiting here, yeah, how do you break into comics? And it's always like, we don't see how coming here you couldn't see that the answer is just make a comic. Like,
I think the idea of breaking into comics is a very silly notion. I feel like that I've had 12 moments where I felt like I broke in, you know, where some step happened and I was able to do this. And now I'm not the person who's ever wanted to go and work for Marvel or DC.
Right.
And not that I think that would be something I'd be good at necessarily. You know, so in order to just do creator-owned stuff and break into the industry, it is as simple as like putting something out and then trying harder and putting something new out and then finding a small publisher or figuring out how to self-publish and moving from there.
There are no boundaries to making comics. It's not like there's people that, you know, they control the flow of comics. You just make it, and all of a sudden the industry expands to fit you.
Well, and I think that the cool thing about that is we get to make, you know, the comics being that in between novel, literary novel and film, we have this chance to do like any story we want. There's no studio telling us what we can't do, and we're not limited by CG or anything like that.
Yeah, the budget's not going to go up because of what you're drawing.
Right. I have a giant teddy bear robot in this book that stomps through Manhattan and brings down high-rises, which was really fun. I got to like bring a kaiju element into this book. It's a really major part of the book, but it's not a kaiju book. But if I was like a writer for TV and I was writing these things, I would be laughed out of every studio just because we can't afford that.
What are you doing? We're not going to make this story.
Right.
Can it at least be in a room instead of a city? And
right. Yeah.
Can it be building blocks instead of anything that's actually destructible?
Teddy bear, maybe.
Yeah. Right.
So are you thinking about maybe you'll come back to SPX again?
Oh God, yes, absolutely. Especially the other thing is it's cool to stay close to home. I live in Baltimore, and I love doing the shows that are close to home. I feel like I build relationships with fans and customers, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and it's cool if you are local. Then if you build a relationship with the customer, and they're local, then you can see them at other venues.
Oh yeah, and I do about 50 shows a year, and so I'd say half of them are in the Baltimore, D.C. area. And so there's people I see everywhere. There's people who come up to my table with like all the shirts across it. It's like, oh my goodness, I have every one of these except for that one. Bring it on. You know,
Wow,
so
yeah.
like that relationship, that like brand loyalty is the coolest thing in the world. So
And it helps because of the type of audiences that come to shows like this.
right.
You
Oh
know,
yeah.
It engenders loyalty, kind of. Because
God, yeah.
It's you making your stuff, and they want your thing.
And I think it's as fun for people to, like, if they like the product and they buy it, that's awesome. But I think that there's an element of a show like this where they like the product, but they like the conversation that they had with the person. They like the actual person, and that feeds into the
It's all
business.
part of like a bigger picture with this.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And,
And
it's that whole small business thing, that like keeping it
Yeah.
local, that you know where your product came from.
Right.
Now, I don't know if you'd want to partake in the bag of mystery filled with mystery questions.
Sure.
Now, I can't guarantee that you'll like the question that comes out of there, but
Okay.
it is a question.
All right. I got to open this up.
It will have a question mark and everything.
Oh, can I draw a picture of Superman?
Yeah.
Yes.
Can you?
Yeah.
Are you able to do so?
Yeah,
That's
I can draw Superman.
that's
He's not
cool.
very fun to draw.
Well, that wasn't the question.
No.
No.
Thank you for. That's it. That's the question. There you
Awesome.
go.
Very
Okay.
honest answer. We like that.
I can draw Superman.
Excellent. yeah.
Actually,
very good.
because it's not something in my interest, I actually did come up with a concept for a Superman. Like, if I ever got to do a Superman book, I know what
Really?
I'd write. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I really would like to write a post-apocalyptic world where Superman has to stay underground because the sun is all different and is messing with him, and he's just sitting underground watching the world go to hell. Kind of like his version of Dark Knight Returns.
Right.
Yeah.
We also,
awesome.
for a long time, would volley back and forth our version of a Superman story, but mostly involved with Superman saying, "I'm not going to take this shit anymore," and he would
Be an ass.
he would just walk into the Daily Planet, and he would have his shirt hanging open,
Yeah.
and people would have to pretend that they don't see it's Superman.
Cape hanging out from under his shirt.
And then, like, if somebody gave him some guff, like Lex Luthor would be like, "I'm gonna get you, Superman," he would just melt Lex Luthor's hand off and be like, "Lex Luthor, what
Or
are
like
you
the
doing?"
new intern at the Daily
Yeah.
Planet would be like, "Wait, is that Superman?" And then they just fry. So it's like, no.
Then we made a comic about it, and it was pretty good. Yeah.
I hope you published it.
We did.
Nice.
We did it. And it was one of only like 2 stories we've ever done that had nothing to do with like our normal full sanction stick figures. It's just a messed up story.
Nice.
That was our break in the comics.
Yeah,
Nice.
we broke in.
Yes.
You broke
Finally,
in.
yeah.
You kicked the damn door down.
Thieves.
Yeah, well, we knocked, and then we.
Yeah.
I knew where the key was, so I just I let
fine.
ourselves in. Thank you so much for sitting down and
Yes.
talking to
Yeah,
us.
thank you for having me.
Have a good day at SPX.
Hell yeah.
And I say punch somebody.
It might happen.
It comes down to it.
Although everybody's so nice here, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's when you
it's
do
almost
it.
a problem.
Oh.
You
You
can't
got to
find
set the
somebody to
tone.
punch.
Yeah, and people do love their irony at SPX.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. My name's not even Joe. That's what I'm saying.